Hey man, first things first, bro. If you can hear my fan, I sincerely apologize, bro. It is baking and your boy cannot be sitting through this video sweating because it's gonna be a long video. When I got these on, you know it's about to get serious. I'm about to get in my booking bag, man. I go by the name of Black Couch Booking. If you're new to the channel, if you're old to the channel, the Couch Crew, what's going on? I got a challenge today that I just came up with, and I hope y'all enjoy this video. But let's get right into it, man. We're gonna be rapidly booking the entire WWE roster. Now, first of all, that's cap. I did not pick everybody and put everybody in this video because that would have been way too many. It's like a couple of hundred people up there. I'm not doing all that, but we're gonna rapidly book. And you know what I'm saying? Let me just show y'all what I'm working with real quick, man. Let me show y'all what I'm working with. So, made me a tier list. Got the main event, got mid card, got lower card. I'm gonna try to rapidly book everyone in this tier list. So let me show y'all. We got a lot of people here, as you can see in WWE, and I got some TNA individuals as well. So let's get right into it, man. Let's get it. Let's go. Like the video for the creativity, positive vibes, good vibes. I want y'all to have fun, and I want y'all to, you know what I'm saying, let me know what y'all thought about my suggestions. So I want to get the non wrestlers out the way. I do think the GMs need to be booked a lot better because they all looking a little soft in my opinion. So first things first, Ava and Adam Pierce, they're kind of together. Um so this is what we're gonna do, right? Actually. So I'm putting them together because I think Ava should move up to the Raw roster, and this is just to make it more interesting. Ava's basically gonna move up. She's gonna take on a final boss type of character like her father, but a GM version, and she's gonna come and take over Raw. And Adam Pearce is like, well, what I'm gonna do? So Adam Pearce is basically gonna be the Jonathan Coachman to Ava as she's like on a hostile takeover. Like she's booking all the heels, she's calling up NXT people and booking them in favorable positions, while Adam Pearce has to fight back to struggle for power. And eventually he will get that power back as the story progresses. But of course, someone has to take over NXT. I'll get into that later on in the video. But you know what I'm saying? That's just the start of it. Even if you don't like Ava, I think this will help her character tremendously. And then Adam Pearce, you know, he's the guy that's getting bullied. Nick Aldis is laughing at him. Everybody's clowning him. And then eventually he has to find a way and find a team to go against Ava's, you know what I'm saying, NXT call ups so he could fight for power. Just give the GM something fun to do. All they do is announce matches and get yelled at and get gaslighted into putting people into championship matches that don't deserve it. I want to get rid of that. Speaking of Nick Aldis, I like the position that he's in currently. I think out of all the GMs, he's probably the better of the GMs as of right now. And I do like Adam Pearce, but however, Nick Aldis, we all know what we want the story to be with him. Randy Orton and guys, everybody's story is going to be intertwined. Some people's story is going to be independent of themselves, but and it's not going to have nothing to do with other people, even if they're involved. But Nick Aldis, we want to see Nick Aldis versus Randy Orton. Nick Aldis is tired of Randy Orton. He hit him with so many RKOs, so much disrespect. Nick Aldis officially challenges Randy Orton to a match at next year's WrestleMania. And Nick Aldis actually gets the victory to show that he can still hang in the ring. So he becomes basically the most respected general manager from getting a good, decisive win over Randy Orton. No shenanigans, no nonsense. Just a clean win. Randy shakes his hand to show respect, still RKOs him at the end of the match, and Randy Orton stands tall. Last but not least, Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman becomes the primary manager just for Braun Breaker. He tells Braun Breaker that he doesn't need Bronson Reed, he doesn't need Seth freaking Rollins, and that Paul Heyman just wants to manage Braun Breaker on his own, and Braun Breaker becomes a main event player due to Paul Heyman's guidance. And they move on from Roman, move on from Seth. All that is done for. Now that we're done with that, let's get into wait, we forgot one. Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee's been off TV for a little while. Corey Graves filled in, other people, Wade Barrett's filled in, and we're gonna make that into a storyline. So basically, Pat McAfee did get in trouble for clowning Andrade at Money in the Bank. He was in trouble. We turned that into a story. Pat McAfee has to answer to Andrade. Andrade heard the disrespect from Pat McAfee. It's a lower card match, but Pat McAfee and Andrade put on a match. Andrade beats Pat McAfee, and Pat McAfee now respects Andrade. And every time he commentates in an Andrade match, he shows respect and says Andrade is a very good, very skilled individual. Now that we got those people out the way, I'm not going to go in a specific order because there are some people who I definitely want to get out the way first. Grayson Waller. gonna put Grayson Waller in the mid card. I think we need to bring back, Grayson Waller's little talk show. I miss, wrestling, Raw, SmackDown being a little bit campy, and I think Grayson Waller was doing a good job with his talk show. Very annoying heel, very annoying indeed, and obviously his story is gonna, be a little bit intertwined with Austin Theory, where he finally turns on Austin Theory. Grayson Waller is a definitive face. He's doing his talk show, every other week, bringing out the heels, saying that how he likes them, he's trashing their babyface opponent, and that earns Grayson Waller the opportunity to challenge for a mid card championship, but he falls short. However, he's still celebrating, drinking beer out the boots, like he's the biggest thing walking, and basically even in defeat, Grayson Waller doesn't care. You know what I'm saying? He just still a very cocky, arrogant heel, and I think that that would be a good position to put him in the mid card because eventually he will be a singles Intercontinental Champion or United States Champion, depending on the draft. AJ Francis. AJ Francis is a TNA guy through and through, and I don't have commentators on here, by the way. Do not have commentators on here. AJ Francis is a TNA guy. However, I would like to see AJ Francis confront Michael Cole. Come up to Michael Cole, slap Michael Cole in the face. Just Michael Cole just randomly one day, Trick Williams is finally called to the main roster. Trick Williams bring out, AJ Francis and the homie KC that was helping him out, during Trick Williams TNA championship run. And AJ Francis comes back and said, "Who flopped now? Who flopped now? Smack Michael Cole." Doesn't have a match with Michael Cole. Obviously, somebody like a Pat McAfee or Wade Barrett will stand up for Michael Cole. Maybe Wade Barrett can hit him with a clothesline. But AJ Francis, that's just something a little cool, just to go back to Michael Cole, trashing his name and stuff like that. And AJ Francis like, "Who you talking to? Say it to my face, blah blah blah." And that just be a little cool thing to do for TNA, get TNA on the main roster besides just doing stuff with NXT. Speaking of NXT, Andre Chase, mid card for NXT. I don't know why we're trying to bring back Chase University. I say we scrap it once again, have it be a failure once again officially, and he himself burns the Chase U merch, and I think he should go with what I said, Chase Industries, and become like a business mogul type of character for NXT. You know what I'm saying? He's recruiting brand new individuals. He's recruiting the services of the dark state to do his bidding, with straight up money. Like Chase Industries is an organization. He's a mogul, and he even runs into Thea Hell every now and then. And when he needs her to do something just for the women's division, he'll throw a couple dollars, and then she'll have no problem doing so, which also adds to her character a little bit as well. I think we should just went with something new, and doing Chase U again is a cop out to me, and I think it's kind of lazy in my opinion because I don't even like the new Chase U. I don't even know what they got going on. You already know my guy Austin Theory. Him and Grayson Waller finally split up. Austin Theory breaks up with, Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller takes advice from the New Day to drop dead weight. Austin Theory, however, ends the rivalry on top, getting a win over Grayson Waller, and is officially back in the mid card scene, looking for another championship. Gets drafted to SmackDown, and he is pursuing the United States Championship, which he will win eventually, becoming the three-time United States champion. And we could finally bring Austin Theory back to relevance and prominence that he should have been in the first place. Like I said, Braun Breaker, pretty simple. Becomes a main event player once Paul Heyman officially, rocks with Braun Breaker. Seth Rollins does officially cash in, and he successfully cashes in on the WWE Championship for John Cena. However, Braun Breaker turns on him immediately, and Bronson Reed, he really just wants no part of it. He wants to do his own thing as well. So him and Braun Breaker agree they have no issues with one another, but Braun Breaker does have an issue with Seth Rollins, and he wants to become WWE champion. And Paul Heyman said that I'm rocking with the young fella. Longevity is the name of the game, and I'm sticking with Braun Breaker. So Braun Breaker eventually gets his WWE championship shot, and then we move the story along that way. He doesn't win the first time, but he does win the WWE championship eventually, and we are now in the future of the company. Aleister Black. Aleister Black, man, at the end of the day, I like Aleister Black a lot, but he doesn't need championships. He doesn't need to do anything. He likes being in WWE. He wants to be in WWE for many different reasons. And I would just like Aleister Black and Shinsuke Nakamura to have an actual feud that is, meaningful. They could do some great segments back and forth. Shinsuke does his backstage segment. As the Last Samurai, Aleister Black does his segment. He could bring up the door thing or whatever he wants to bring up, and they have a good match. And that's just a nice little match. Just like Andrade and Carmelo Hayes had a nice little rivalry. It wasn't the most important thing in the world, but I would like to see Aleister Black and Shinsuke actually have the opportunity to work with one another. So that's why I see Aleister Black, me personally. Now, Julia, this is a different scenario. Julia and Zelina Vega's scenario is going to be different, but if Julia is to dethrone Zelina Vega, I would like to see Julia go on a nice long run as the Women's United States Champion. You know, doing the little video packages as she just did with Zelina Vega. I think that's the best way to use her. And Julia is just a dominant force. She's beating up everybody that challenges for that Women's United States Championship. She's winning multi-person matches, and this is bringing up Julia to her old persona that she was in Japan with the leather jacket, the shades, Kenny Omega-esque type of vibe. I want Julia to tap back into that character because people who, casual fans who watch WWE have never seen that type of character, and I think that would elevate her to the next level. And I do think I brought this over Shinsuke, but I'll bring it up for her as well. She's the United States champion, but she, comes out with a Japanese flag, drapes it over the belt so people can't see the belt, things like that, and then make her side place the Japanese flag as well. That's what I would like to see if she were to defeat Zelina Vega as the Women's United States Champion. Dominic Mysterio, I think it's self-explanatory. Him versus Finn Balor at SummerSlam is something that I would like to happen. We don't know what's going to happen, with his title in the future, but I would like to see Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor. I want him to beat Finn Balor, and not only do I want him to beat Finn Balor, but I want him to definitively, become a man on his own. He still gets the ladies and all that type of thing, but he is no longer associated with Liv Morgan because he's been, messing around with Roxanne Perez. So that's how him and Liv Morgan split. And then, Dominic Mysterio just becomes the person he's supposed to be. And he becomes the IC champion. Eventually, he will drop the IC title. But to see him on his own and really embrace that lie, cheat, steal persona, winning matches similar to Eddie, it's not lazy booking, it's paying homage. So I like to see Dominic on his own and see what he can do without the Judgment Day and without, Liv Morgan or Eye Candy by his side. And no face turn just yet, but it will come soon. He'll be the face in the Finn Balor situation, but once he beats Finn Balor, he's still going back to his old ways, and then his father got to teach him a lesson, and then finally, Dominic Mysterio gets that win over Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania that he never got over his father. B-Fab. I think B-Fab and Mia Yim are definitely capable of being women's tag team champions. They have good chemistry together. I like what they're doing. I have other plans for B-Fab, but I'll talk about that with the individuals that I would like her to see her manage as well, because she's still a good manager. She's good in ring, but she can do both. People just don't have to be a valet or a manager and not be able to, do everything. So I would like to see B-Fab on the lower card scene and really, picking up steam that will elevate her to, maybe a mid-card title opportunity. But first things first, we're definitely, gonna have to see B-Fab do more, with Mia Yim. And I think that they could get a run at the women's tag team championships as women's tag team champions as long as they're around. And speaking of Andrade, I would like to see Andrade actually win one more mid-card championship before it's all said and done. This man has been putting on great matches. Whenever he's in a ladder match, he has the best spots. Whenever he's in a multi-person match, he has the best spots. He has some great battles with Carmelo Hayes. He did some good stuff with Jacob Fatu even. So I would like to see Andrade become United States champion one more time. And I would love to see that if it were possible while him and Zelina Vega were champions at the same time. Just see a nice little picture with both of them holding the United States championships. Nothing too long for Andrade, obviously, but I think that he can do some good stuff with the championship. And once he drops that championship, I would actually like to see him challenge for the AAA title and win the AAA title and become, one of the biggest deals, for the AAA acquisition and him being the world champion. Because let's face it, he's probably not going to get a world championship in WWE. So him getting, the AAA World Championship would be good enough, in my opinion, as an Andrade fan. Ethan Page. After SummerSlam, when the draft happens, I like to see Ethan Page move up to the main roster. I like to see him go to SmackDown preferably, but if he were to go to Raw, that'd be fine. But I would like to see Ethan Page go to SmackDown and actually be, a legit challenger for the United States Championship. Whoever is the United States champion, they could be a baby face. Obviously, I don't want Ethan Page to win right away, but to him just submit himself, maybe have a promo battle with a guy like a LA Knight And if the Miz is still around, I would love to see him have an interaction with the Miz. The Miz trying to mentor him, but Ethan Page isn't having it. Ethan Page saying, "I'm the now, I'm the future. You're the past. You need to move on." And then obviously, the Miz might not re-sign with WWE, or who knows what's going to happen. And then Ethan Page can take that spot, from the Miz, because Grayson Waller isn't really Miz-esque to me. I think Ethan Page has more comp, in my opinion. He just doesn't have a talk show, whatever the case may be. Carmelo Hayes is a guy that also, I like to see him go to Raw and challenge for the Intercontinental Championship, whether Dominic Mysterio has it, whether AJ Styles have it, whoever. AJ Styles does have the Intercontinental Championship. I like to see Carmelo Hayes beat AJ Styles. I think AJ Styles will put Carmelo Hayes over, and they will put on an absolute banger. So, that is what I would like for Carmelo Hayes. I think a change of scenery would do well for him, and I think he could be a really, really good guy on the Raw brand. So I think Raw could use a guy like Carmelo Hayes on their brand. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. I think that they need to win the women's tag team championships together. Obviously, out they're gonna have to get a one-on-one match eventually, but seeing them as the women's tag team champions first would be something very different. And I think that Alexa Bliss could actually help push Charlotte Flair over as a face. And then once the people get connected and people start liking Charlotte, Alexa Bliss turns heel, and we'll see if the crowd is reactive to that and open to Alexa Bliss being the heel and Charlotte Flair being the face. And Alexa Bliss will have to do something drastic to really be a heel in this situation. I know it would be very hard for people to separate Charlotte from a heel run, but this is Charlotte's chance to prove that she's bigger than just being one character, which is, the woman Ric Flair heel type of character. If she can come off as a real baby face, get the fans behind her as a baby face, and Alexa Bliss is the heel, it'll just be something different that we haven't seen in a long time. And I think that will actually help for her legacy and her character, and being, tag team champions with Alexa Bliss, wearing the matching outfits, eventually having Alexa Bliss drop the Lily doll, you know what I'm saying, and just, embracing the goddess and then becoming the heel goddess for Alexa Bliss as well is pretty sure that's something I'm pretty sure everyone wants to see, if we're going to be completely honest. So I want to see that. Bronson Reed. Like I said, Bronson Reed disbands from, the Seth Rollins group. The group doesn't last too long because it's really, in my opinion, not benefiting him or Braun Breaker. Well, Bronson Reed is a guy who was already challenging for the United States Championship, who was in the Elimination Chamber match, who was part of Survivor Series. So why can't this guy be a mid-card player? I would like to see Bronson Reed take out the Sheamuses, take out the Rusevs, take out the Otises. He's claiming his fame to, being the best bigger man on the Raw brand, and that's how he earns the opportunity. He could have like a Mark Henry Hall of Pain type of situation going on, where he's really destroying guys, hitting tsunamis, putting them through tables, and then he's going on a monster run. I think that's the run that he was gonna go for, before he got hurt. So I would like to see them pick back up. He has some good momentum. I'd like to see them pick back up with Bronson Reed where they left off. Chad Gable, El Grande Americano. Just let the man get one. As far as Chad Gable, IC title is definitely in his future for me personally. I would love to see him as a singles champion, still being the head of American Made. And at the same time, I want to see El Grande actually win the title with AAA as well. So technically, Chad Gable is, two times. He got two belts. And then eventually he finally unmasked himself as Chad Gable, and he taunts the crowd, say, "See, I told y'all I could be the luchador." He beat a luchador for one of the titles in AAA. And now he's walking around with both belts being very, very cocky, until he's finally beaten by Mr. Iguana for whatever AAA title he gets. And then he drops his IC title to a baby face. You know what I'm saying? A good twist would be, dropping it to someone extremely unexpected, which we'll get into later, I'm sure. So I'll keep that in mind, right? Dragon Lee. Um, Dragon Lee is a guy that I think he's gonna have his Sin Cara. He can just do big spots, be in matches to do the spots, but he does have to get the opportunity to be in matches to get these type of spots. So I like to see, Dragon Lee compete in the next Money in the Bank. I like to see Dragon Lee have a great showing in the next Royal Rumble. And maybe even if you want to do something very cool, the next time you have a Worlds Collide with the AAA folks, have team. WWE versus Team AAA, and Dragon Lee be a part of actually decides to be a part of Team WWE, and he's the reason why they win the match. That's just to be a big moment for him at Worlds Collide. He could team up with some NXT guys, whatever the case may be, and I think that would put him in a good position overall. Goldberg, Goldberg beats Gunther at Night of Champions, and that was his last match. But he retires. He beats Gunther for the belt. He retires. He said, "Hey," he comes out Monday Night Raw. Say, "Hey, I did what I had to do. I showed y'all I still got it. I beat the man, and this is a beautiful belt. But I'm walking away, and now y'all gonna have to find somebody else to carry the mantle. But y'all just make sure it's not Gunther because he's unworthy." So that's how Goldberg ends his career. As far as Gunther goes, obviously he beats Goldberg for sure. He beats Goldberg, but he does not get cashed in on by Seth Rollins. But a new challenger, actually challenges him for the belt, and that man is a returning Dragunov. So Dragunov gets propelled to the main event scene by challenging Gunther for the belt. They have a banger Iron Man match, and Dragunov actually gets the victory. So we have a brand new champion, a champion that is a face that people could get behind, and that's a very good wrestler. Won't be a very long reign. He'll have like a 50-day reign, as well as similar to Jey Uso. But the reign will be good, and the matches with him and Gunther will be good. I would like them to have more than one match, maybe have two matches, and then we can move on from that title reign like that. Alba Fire finally gets herself away from Chelsea Green, but she takes Piper Niven with her, and her and Piper Niven actually become a tag team, and they're a very formidable tag team. They turn on Chelsea Green because Chelsea Green only cares about herself. She's benefiting herself. She hasn't helped propel them in any way, and they're finally happy to get rid of get stop wearing suits and ties every week and stuff like that. So Alba Fire becomes the catalyst for Piper Niven to turn on Chelsea Green as well. And they both end up, challenging for the women's tag team championships down the line. Bailey. So for Bailey, I'm gonna stick Bailey in the mid card. I do not think she's gonna win the women's Intercontinental Championship. Whether they do a triple threat match or not. I think Lyra becomes a two-time Intercontinental Champion, and then Bailey, she's in the mid card, helping to elevate other women, similar to Natalia role until Bailey's contract is up or whatever the case may be, and she jumps ship to AEW with Mercedes Moné. But I do want to see Bailey to be in this role of elevating other women. I do think Bailey's last women's championship run might be the last one permanently, but it's been a heck of a run, and Bailey's done some good stuff. So yeah, no, I rock with Bailey heavy, but I don't see them putting the title on her again. And since AJ Styles is here, the scenario is AJ Styles eventually does beat Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship, and AJ Styles gets to have that title until he loses it to. Where is he? Where is he? A guy that we finally seen backstage and we thought he was gone. Maybe we thought the Charlotte stuff, got this guy banished to the shadow round. But Ludwig Kaiser actually takes the Intercontinental Championship from AJ Styles. And while Gunther has the World Heavyweight Championship, and we could finally see both of these guys have titles at the same time, celebrate, do their thing backstage. And they're just very happy about being champions at the same time. And Ludwig Kaiser finally gets to show what he can do on his own. He showed some good stuff with Pete Dunne and Penta, but him as a champion, I think that he's good enough to carry his own weight in the ring and on promo. So I would love to see Ludwig Kaiser do that, and I'd love to see him come out with Gunther for an entrance and take Gunther's coat, and then Gunther, he smiles in approval, but then he points at Ludwig's and kind of championship, say, "Nah, man, you ain't my handyman. You on my level, so you make sure you stand right next to me. We walk down together. That'll be a good nod." I like to see a returning Bianca Belair return to form when she comes back. I like to see Bianca Belair become a women's champion again, and that will be from Naomi cashing in successfully and defeating Jade Cargill as well. And then we get Naomi versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania, where Bianca Belair and Naomi open the show for night two, and they kill it. And Bianca Belair becomes a women's champion once again. Very easy, very simple. CM Punk doesn't need another belt, in my opinion, but I think CM Punk can benefit from having a good match, a good rivalry with individuals. But I would like to actually see CM Punk go against the likes of a guy who we can help elevate, and that's Damian Priest. I like to see CM Punk jump ship to SmackDown while Damian Priest is still there. And CM Punk is like, man, you had a lot of potential. You was World Heavyweight Champion, didn't last that long, in my opinion. So, what are you like? What are you looking for? And Damian Priest said, you know what I'm looking for. I'm always looking for a fight, especially people that respect the King of the Streets. So CM Punk and Damian Priest have a nice rivalry. CM Punk does the job for Damian Priest, puts him over, and Damian Priest is elevated back to the main event scene because he should not be worried about no Jacob Fatu and no United States Championship when this man was just the world heavyweight champion, in my opinion. So I think he should move on from that. And Cody Rhodes, I think Cody Rhodes, if he does win King of the Ring, he should defeat John Cena at SummerSlam, becoming a two-time champion. Cody Rhodes did finish his story, but he didn't come back just to be a one-time champion. You could win the championship one time. It's about, multiple title reigns, the legacy that he wants to cement. And he just don't want his title reign to just be, oh, I finished the story for my dad. So he wants to be a champion through and through. And he is, still the biggest babyface in WWE as of right now. So Cody Rhodes coming back to dethrone John Cena, and maybe he is one of the catalysts to help John Cena have a change of heart. I think Cody Rhodes will be a two-time WWE champion before it's all said and done. Javon Evans, whether y'all like him or not, I think this guy should be the NXT North American champion. I love to see Javon Evans become the NXT North American champion, show what he can do. You know what I'm saying? Really put on some good matches, really show some good high flying skills. I don't think he should go straight to the main roster yet. No, 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 no. He should definitely be NXT North American champion at minimum. And he'll work on himself, get his weight up, become who he's supposed to become. And I would like to see him add another style to his repertoire right now. I definitely think this guy could have a Swerve Strickland archetype. Because remember, Swerve was a high flyer as well, but now he can do both. So I think Javon Evans has that capability. He's mad young, so by the time he's like 26, 27, I think he's gonna be up there for sure. Jada Parker, I would like to see Jada Parker win the NXT Women's Championship. Don't know how we're gonna get there with Blake Monroe's and the Jordan Graces and all that, but Jada Parker is definitively the best NXT Women's promo, and I think she'll just be very entertaining and have some entertaining things. I would love to see her change her finisher to like the rock bottom or something like that. There's something different. The drive by, the hip attack, whatever it's called. That could be is it called? I don't know what it's called. It could be her signature, but her finisher should definitely be something different. Oscar, Io Sky needs an opponent. And I think even if Oscar doesn't win Queen of the Ring, but she probably won't, Io Sky needs an opponent. And I think Oscar as a heel is fun, but she didn't got to be a heel. We don't have a lot of face versus face, heel versus heel things, but Oscar just challenging Io Sky as a respect thing, saying that, hey, I want to help, I want to see what you're about. I want to see, why you've been champion for so long. You haven't had any title defenses, and I think Oscar is a very worthy opponent for Io Sky, and I think people will get behind that sincerely. Jade Cargill, like I said in her last match, she was definitely a little wonky with Roxanne Perez. I think Jade Cargill, I mean, she's still green. It's been a long time, but you gotta use your investment. You invested all that money. She about to be in a movie. She has the face value. She has aura. So you gotta use her. So if she wins Queen of the Ring, you have her beat Tiffany Stratton. You have Naomi cash in on Jade Cargill successfully. Jade Cargill, Naomi running back for an actual match, and then from there. I want Naomi to win to, face Bianca, but if they have Jade Cargill win, then at least Naomi had a run because Jade Cargill could get cashed in on after she wins the women's championship and then be out to film the movie. I don't know if she already filmed the movie or whatever the case may be, but I think that would be a very simple way to write her off so that she can come back and challenge Naomi. Becky Lynch. I think Becky Lynch is above the mid-card championship. She drops it to Lyra. Her and Lyra's story is done, and she wants gold, so she challenges Io Sky. She loses to Io Sky, but Becky Lynch should be in that position. I think Becky Lynch and Io Sky would be a good match for the women's championship, and I think Becky Lynch will help to elevate Io Sky's title reign. Currently, Akira Tozawa, I like to see him split up from American Alpha, and I would just like to see him just, wrestle main event. He had a good match with Gunther, decent match with Gunther. So Akira Tozawa just be used as an enhancement talent, you know what I'm saying, to challenge new guys coming in, go down to NXT, put on some good matches with some of the mid card to lower card guys, and just use Akira Tozawa for his skill, bro. He's not doing nothing significant, so he don't got to be booked significant. Motor City Machine Guns, they're in a good position. Just use them as good guys for to be, tag team matches. Help them, train the young guys. Help them put on good matches with the young guys or the guys who's been around. Them in just a standing rivalry with Pretty Deadly would be fine. Like you don't gotta add everybody else in the rivalry. Like SmackDown doing great with all their tag teams, but everybody don't gotta be involved. I think them just helping out Pretty Deadly would be good, and them actually putting over Pretty Deadly would put Pretty Deadly back in a position to challenge for the tag team championships. Speaking of tag team champions, I would actually like Los Garza to actually have both the belts at the same time, the AAA tag belts and the WWE SmackDown belts, the WWE Tag Team Championships at the same time. That would really help elevate them having, two belts on, and at the same token, they split from Santos Escobar. And Santos Escobar just looking around like, yo, what am I gonna do? I don't have my boys no more. They rolling with Andrade now. So Andrade and Los Garza got a whole new faction. So I would like to see that story actually play out. Hope they didn't forget about it. Usos, I want to see him get back as a tag team. I want to see him both be on Raw. So Jimmy gets drafted to Raw. Jay and Jimmy link back up to become the Usos again and challenge the New Day for the Raw Tag Team Championships. I think that's very simple, very easy enough. Jay Uso's been the main event. He had his run. He could get rid of the Yee stuff, and we can bring back the Uso Penitentiary. Ren Sinclair, I like to see Ren Sinclair. No. I would actually like to see Ren Sinclair become NXT Women's Champion. NXT used to give a lot of people opportunities because they were very skilled, and then they took it and ran with it. So Ren Sinclair could definitely have a nice NXT Women's Championship run. Don't be the butt of the jokes. Don't be the one taking pins. Don't be losing all the time. And she actually shows her skill that she's actually a top performer in NXT. I would like that for Ren Sinclair sincerely. Finn Balor. So this scenario, Finn Balor actually beats Dominic Mysterio and becomes the Intercontinental Champion. And then Dominic Mysterio still doesn't break away from them just yet. Now Finn Balor's walking around being the leader, being the guy that he said Damian Priest was. And Damian Priest was being a leader, pushing people, grabbing a shirt up and all that nonsense. So now Finn Balor becomes that guy. And Dominic, like, you're a hypocrite. You become the very same thing that Damian Priest was. And then him and Dominic run it back, and Dominic beats him, becoming a two-time Intercontinental Champion. While Finn Balor, at least he got to hold the belt one more time. Liv Morgan, she doesn't need to be in the women's championship scene, but when she comes back, Raquel and Roxanne are good friends now. Dominic is closer to Roxanne than ever before, and Liv Morgan comes back for her revenge. So she's on a brand new Liv Morgan revenge tour. She finally becomes a solo star again. Liv Morgan was the MVP of 2004 for the women's division, according to a lot of individuals. So I like to see Liv Morgan come back, and we got to figure out a way to split up the Judgment Day. So we got to have a lot of different things going on at the same time. Jacob Fatu. I like to see Jacob Fatu have a nice run as a United States champion, drop the belt, and then he's elevated to the main event scene where he's challenging whoever they send him to Raw. He challenges whoever the World Heavyweight Champion is. He loses, but then the following year he actually does successfully win the Money in the Bank briefcase, and then Jacob Fatu ends up becoming the world champion. I think Jacob Fatu has that type of trajectory about him. I can see him being a World Heavyweight Champion on Raw. We doing pretty good, y'all. Drew McIntyre, I think Drew McIntyre's hopes of getting a world championship might be out of the picture, but Drew McIntyre can still have some very great rivalries without the belt. You've seen what he did with CM Punk. You've seen what he did as a part of the United States Championship scene on SmackDown. I like to see Drew McIntyre and Sheamus running back one more time because I'm just a mark, I guess. But I would like to see them running back one more time with something significant. And then, I would love to see Drew McIntyre just being that guy in the back, talking trash, looking for a fight, and then, just putting on banger matches and then just help elevate other guys as well. Like I said, for Santos Escobar, I would like to see him, he's actually, loses his guys. He loses Los Garza, and then he picks back up. The original Legado del Fantasma actually returns, and they become a team yet again, a real team, because that's a real team. They should never left them. Legado del Fantasma becomes a thing again, where it's Santos and Cruz and Wild, and they become a team again. No more LWO stuff, and at least they get to finally be booked as a tag team, and they get to be with Santos Escobar definitively. I like to see Roxanne Perez and where is she? I would love to see Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. Did I not put Raquel Rodriguez on this list? They must not have had a picture clear. I don't think I did, but obviously I like to see Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez as a tag team and be the women's tag team champions, which is leads to Liv Morgan coming back, obviously, and she being like, "Yo, what's going on?" Roxanne and Dom get real close, so you got Roxanne versus Liv as a solo rivalry, but also Liv is beefing with Raquel, and Raquel and Roxanne do lose the women's championships eventually. However, Roxanne and Liv, then go into their little rivalry, and then Liv eventually becomes women's I mean not Liv. Roxanne becomes women's intercontinental champion on her own. We might have to do a part one, part two. This is actually pretty crazy. I'm gonna do as much as I can though. So let me move a couple of people up. Oh, Raquel is here, okay? And as far as Raquel goes, right? Raquel and Roxanne lose the titles. Raquel gets to step out on her own, and now she gets the heavy rivalries against the Rhea Ripleys, against the Bianca Belairs, and things of that nature. And Raquel, finally is getting propelled to that main event scene eventually. But I do want to see, Raquel also have some good stuff. Like her and Rhea Ripley could actually be a very fun rivalry that can help propel her to the next level. So I still got her as the mid card, but eventually she will be a main event player. Naomi successfully cashes in the Money in the Bank briefcase. She actually waits until Jade Cargill. No, I'm gonna do a different scenario. Naomi successfully cashes in on Tiffany Stratton after the match with Nia Jax, becomes the women's champion. Jade Cargill wins the Queen of the Ring, but Naomi still beats her at SummerSlam, which prompts a Bianca Belair to come back and save Jade Cargill from getting beaten up, after the match by Naomi. And then we got this whole thing where who's going to challenge Naomi again? Jade wants to run it back because Naomi cheated to win somehow. And, Bianca wants her shot at Naomi period because she's been stalking her family and blah, blah, blah. And then Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill got to have a one-on-one to face Naomi. And then the winner gets to face Naomi, eventually. Rhea Ripley without the belt is gonna bring a lot of people back to her side. A lot of people turn on her because Rhea Hogan stuffing her down people's throats, blah blah blah. But I do want to see Rhea Ripley become someone who doesn't need the belt, but she's still a main event player. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, stuff like that. Rhea Ripley could face anyone that is of high standard, and she could still be a main event player. Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez could be the main event of a Raw one time. But if they do anything, I would like to see them send Rhea to SmackDown, and Rhea can go to SmackDown. She could put on some good matches with a lot of individuals over there. You know what I'm saying? I like to see Rhea versus Tiffany Stratton. Why not? I like to see Rhea Ripley versus a let me see if I put her on this list. A debuting Jordan Grace on SmackDown. People say Jordan Grace too small, but I'm tired of having this argument about people being small, blah blah blah. Jordan Grace and Rhea Ripley could be a nice rivalry for SmackDown, and they could trade wins. You gotta have Jordan Grace get some wins, and Rhea getting some losses will humanize Rhea Ripley as a character. So send Jordan Grace to SmackDown if she does come up. Raw does not need Jordan Grace at this moment in time. Nia Jax, she's gonna lose to Tiffany Stratton, but I think Nia Jax can actually help elevate the Women's United States Championship. Whether that be against a Julia or Zelina Vega or whoever got the belt at the time. Nia Jax doesn't need to be in a tag team scene. Nia Jax is an individual, and her and Candice LeRae is working with DIY, so we don't need Candice LeRae to get involved with Nia Jax. I think Nia Jax can help elevate that mid card scene for sure. Speaking of NXT GM, I said that Sean Spears should be the NXT GM. The Ava appoints Sean Spears as the GM because he's conniving, he's very calculated, and she'll do his bidding on NXT while she is, the manager of Raw. And Sean Spears will obviously give Izzy Dame the title shots and recruit more people for the culling and blah blah blah. And then Sean Spears will just be a heel GM. Yeah, 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 yeah. I want the Tongas to come back in full force. No bloodline stuff, none of that. They're not even aligned with Solo. They still rock with Jacob. They respect Jacob, but they still on SmackDown, and they're going after the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Tama Tonga gets to cut promos that he used to cut in New Japan. He gets to fly off the cuff, and he not being nerfed. And then Tonga Loa, he knows he's the meme king. He leans into it. He's the comedy relief of the group, but they're still mauling through tag teams, and they eventually earn the number one contender shot at the Tag Team Championships. Like I said with Mia Yim and B-Fab could definitely become women's tag team champions, and I think Mia Yim is just doing some good work right now with what they've been given. So them as women's tag team champions, will be fine. Maxine Dupree, I like to see Maxine Dupree and Natalia actually split up, and I want to see Natalia help elevate Maxine Dupree. Yep, there she go. Help elevate Maxine Dupree by Maxine Dupree getting put over by Natalia, but they got to do a street fight. They got to do something that I don't want to see no worm. I don't want to see none of that. I want to see Maxine Dupree beat Natalia with the sharpshooter, and that will elevate Natalia. Lash Legend. I think Lash Legend is also another one who should be NXT Women's Champion before it's all said and done. I think the biggest mistake ever for NXT was not letting Bianca Belair be the NXT Women's Champion, even though it still worked out for her in the end. Jada Parker and Lash Legend might not have that same trajectory. We're unsure. It's too early to tell. But Lash Legend is a beast. She's dominant. There's no reason why she shouldn't be NXT Women's Champion. And since we get here, let's just get out the way. Blake Monroe will obviously be NXT Women's Champion very soon, but as she is NXT Women's Champion, I would actually like to see her not have it for too long because I think that they are thirsty to get her on the main roster. They don't got to do it at the draft, but after WrestleMania next year, I think that they would like to have her on the main roster. And I would actually like to see her go into a feud with somebody like a Tiffany Stratton because the comparison storyline is always great. Tiffany faced Charlotte Flair, who's the past. Now Tiffany got to face somebody who is also challenging her to be the future. So I like to see Tiffany Stratton versus Blake Monroe. This is a big list, so I think we're gonna split this up part one, part two. So let's do it. I'm gonna do one more. I would like to see a returning. No. Hmm. I would like to see a debuting Joe Hendry in WWE. Once his TNA contract is up, he debuts and he takes on Rusev. He takes on Rusev. He does the Joe Hendry, whole thing where he does the songs and all these type of things. And his main thing with Rusev is, he's making fun of Rusev because he had to do a segment looking at his wife kissing another man. He obviously can't mention Bobby Lashley by name, or maybe he could. You know what I'm saying? He picks on Rusev because saying you lost all that weight, you in shape now, you still a bum, blah blah blah. He makes fun of Rusev, he beats Rusev, and that helps him, get into that intercontinental title picture. So you know what? I'm gonna stop right there. I don't want to make this video too long. I want y'all to watch this video and we're gonna do a part two. But thank y'all for the love and support as always, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate the love, man. Let me know what y'all think about my booking so far. We did some rapid fast booking as fast as we possibly could, and we will finish the rest in part two. Thank y'all for love support. Let's make this creative content. Peace out, man.